Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and with Rick and Morty Season 4 coming, there remain mysteries about the series that it looks like this new season might start to answer. Now, it's fun to wonder what professional title Mr. Poopy Butthole might have now, but there are even darker truths lingering from the first 3 seasons that we have got to address. And here to help me do that is my buddy and fellow Rick and Morty fanatic, Danny Prikazsky. Hey, man!
Oh, well, hey there. Glad to be here with the Erik-est Erik.
And I with the Danny-est Danny. Now, we realized that there are actually 2 of the deepest, darkest questions that drives these series of Rick and Morty. First, after years of struggling with alcoholism, depression, self-destructive hedonism, and despite sincere attempts, why hasn't Rick been able to kill himself?
And 2, what is Evil Morty's agenda/origin? I mean, basically, what's he being all evil about? Doesn't seem very Morty to me.
Yeah. Well, after talking it over, Danny and I believe that these 2 questions have one unified answer. And if you've been watching Rick and Morty through the same warped lens that we watch it through, the clues have been there the whole time.
The whole time.
Join us as we break them down in this episode of
Total Conspiracy.
Let us start by looking at Rick's death wish, something that has been painfully evident to us since his suicide attempt at the end of autoerotic assimilation.
Rick has a conflicted relationship with his own mortality. He seeks out ways to keep himself alive forever, but at the same time, constantly yearns for that sweet release of death.
Right, we see this contrast in the season 3 episode Big Trouble in Little Sanchez, where Rick engages Operation Phoenix.
Rick successfully transplants his consciousness into a younger version of himself, Tiny Rick, but this attempt at immortality backfires spectacularly when he communicates his inner fears through the performing arts.
The song that Tiny Rick improvises and his dance, entitled Let Me Out, showcase his cold feet. Not only does he fear the death of his original body, but he also seems to fear the eternal life that would be granted to him by Operation Phoenix.
Right. Too scared to live, too scared to die. Also, in Season 2, Episode 1, A Rickle in Time, there's a version of Rick who almost gives up his life in order to save Morty. Rick realizes and embraces the idea that the world would be a better place without him.
I'm okay with this. Be good, Morty. Be better than me. I'm not okay with this! I am not okay with this!
As soon as he's offered a way out of this selfless ending, he snatches it.
And there are countless moments throughout the series that show Rick's disdain for his own life and his desire to escape it. There was his half-hearted suicide attempts in Fruitby Land.
Well, nothing to live for. Goodbye, cruel world! Oh no, the water's breathable? Who went and did that?
There's his alcoholism, a slow and grueling form of suicide.
Yeah, depending who you talk to. And there's the true meaning of the term wubba-lubba-dub-dub.
That's just Rick's stupid nonsense catchphrase.
It's not nonsense at all. In my people's tongue, it means, I am in great pain. Please help me.
And the one time that we see a Rick die, apparently according to Rick's own will, it happens in the episode that introduces Evil Morty, close Rick counters of the Rick kind. In this episode, the evil Rick, swarmed by a bunch of Mortys, shouts,
Do your worst, you little bastards! Kill me!
Do it! Death by Morty.
right. And this moment sheds light onto what we think is the connection between Evil Morty and Rick's death wish. Whether he's doing it consciously or subconsciously, Rick is grooming his Morty to become Evil Morty in a future timeline so that he can do what Rick is too afraid to do, kill Rick.
Yeah, well, we certainly have seen Morty changing over the course of the series. Many people point to his murder of Fart in Morty Night Run as a huge changing point where Morty started to embrace his Rick side.
Morty has gone from being a spineless, bumbling idiot and a pilot to a competent and self-aware hero who even calls out the Mortiness of other Mortys, like he does in the courtroom scene of the Rick Shank Redemption.
How is this a fair trial? Our lawyer is a Morty!
One way that we like to mark Morty's progression is through his choice of adventures. The Morty Picks an Adventure episode has become as beloved a tradition as Interdimensional Cable. These episodes are perfect snapshots in the progression of Morty's character.
Yes, Morty's first chosen adventure is a fairy tale, literally modeled after Jack and the Beanstalk. Here, Morty is naive and idealistic. As constantly happens in his adventures with Rick, he is horribly traumatized.
In Morty's second adventure, Vindicators 3 Return of World Ender, Morty is more world-weary and competent, disarming Rick's bomb and leading the team to victory over a reckless Rick.
And the season 4 trailer teases a third Morty adventure.
You know what? This one counts as one of your adventures.
If the first adventure is fairy tale themed and the second superhero themed, this one looks like it's going to be Dungeons and Dragons-y, and we all know that's the darkest and most mature of tabletop RPGs.
Yes, it is. And if we want to follow the idea of Morty going dark, the trailer shows him turn into a literal monster and shows up dressed as a Nazi.
It doesn't get much darker than that.
Nope.
But we've already seen Morty go pretty sinister, like in this scene from the end of the Whirly-Durly conspiracy, where the way Morty talks to Summer's ex-boyfriend Ethan is pretty similar to the way Michael Corleone talks to Connie's abusive husband in The Godfather.
Made my sister cry, Ethan. You mess with her body image.
Look, Morty,
Shh. Careful, Ethan. Your s'more is burning.
Ah, that little farce you played with my sister. You think that could fool a Carrión?
Morty is Breaking Bad, but for him to become Evil Morty, wouldn't he have to be like a time traveler? I mean, close Rick counters. In that episode, we see Morty and Evil Morty side by side.
Well, there is another clue in that episode. When Morty meets the cultist of the one true Morty, they say,
One day he will return.
so if Morty C-137 is the one true Morty, and this is his return, then he must have already been there, or a future version of him has.
A future version of him that we already know is charismatic enough to say win an election.
Exactly. Maybe Evil Morty started the very prophecy that our Morty fulfilled.
Mind blown.
Oh yeah. Rick, knowing that he wanted to die, but also knowing that he would never have enough will to take his own life, put into play a plan to create an evil and sadistic Morty that would eventually take him down. A plan that started in episode 1, where he issued Morty this secret command, help me escape.
When does he say that?
Right here.
But do you think you'll still be able to help me collect my seeds, Morty?
He just burped.
Ah, well, remember when I said you had to watch it through the same warped lens that we do? By that, I meant in reverse, because we're insane.
We're loco. It's been there the whole time. Just watch it backwards. Time is relative, biatch. Suicide by Morty, it's canon.
And thanks to one of our good friends for sending that in to us. Otherwise, I don't know if I would have ever spotted it.
Nah.
100 years, Suicide by Morty, guys! It's an agenda in the works since the beginning, because the entire plot of Rick and Morty has apparently been a total conspiracy.
What do you think is Evil Morty's true purpose? Comment down below with your theories.
And subscribe to New Rockstars for more breakdowns and analysis of Rick and Morty, especially when season 4 comes back in our lives. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Erik Voss.
And follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Danny Prikazsky.
Hey, thanks for helping me explain this theory, Danny.
Oh, no problem.
Oh, I don't need to thank a drone that I built and control remotely.
Sorry, what?
Nothing.